Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman, coming to you from our studios at the Capital Region International Airport. We're going to run down to Southfield, Michigan, if you know where that is. That's in the Detroit area. And we're going to spend a little time with Anthony Dalimonte. He's an associate with Foster Swift, Collins and Smith from the Southfield office, but they do have 6 branches across Michigan, and they do a lot of stuff outside of just lawyering, so to speak. And one of those things, we will ask you, Tony, to kind of just give us an update. You had recently your annual labor and employment law update webinar. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so, our employment group over at Foster Swift, we try to put on a couple of these sort of seminars, webinars a year where we give employers information on what they need to know, what's coming down the pipe. We touched a lot of different topics. And if you want to find any resources on that, go to our Foster Swift webpage. Those videos will be posted. Lots of great information there.
Well, so listen, let's talk a little bit about, because everybody's going to need a lot of education on this. Can you tell us about changes that are coming to Michigan's paid sick leave? I mean, this is one of the more ridiculous things I've ever seen. And frankly, to borrow your phrase, it's going live in February.
Yeah, I mean, February 21, 2025, that's the date that we're telling our clients to circle, star, write down. That's the date that Michigan's paid sick leave laws are going to be changing. So right now, we're complying with the Paid Medical Leave Act. Come February 21, 2025, the Earned Sick Time Act is going to be replacing the current sick leave laws. And why does this matter? It matters because under the Earned Sick Time Act, all Michigan employers with at least one employee are required to provide paid sick leave to their employees. And, we're not going to have time here to go into all of the details, but the quick hitters are employers have to allow employees to use up to 72 hours or 9 days on a, 8-hour workday, 72 hours of paid sick leave a year. And you have to allow them to accrue at a rate of 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked.
So, yeah, let's give a brief overview of this whole thing, because there are some, I guess, contingencies in here that are really semi-ridiculous in my mind.
Yeah, so just briefly on how we got here, what happened was on July 31st this summer, the Michigan Supreme Court held that the manner in which our Michigan legislature enacted the current versions of Michigan's sick leave and minimum wage laws was unconstitutional. And, we could spend a half hour going through, what they did and what they should have done. But essentially, they said that, the way that you enacted these laws was unconstitutional. So we're going to go back to the original 2018 versions of these laws. So that's why the Earned Sick Time Act is going back into place. But again, quick hitters on what employers need to know. Employees are going to be able to accrue sick time at a rate of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. You have to allow them to use up to 72 hours per year. And the big one is you have to allow employees to carry over that unused paid sick leave every year. So if you've got a 20-year employee who doesn't use a ton of sick time, you have to develop this sort of administrative procedures to build up that sick bank for them. So they could have a huge sick bank at the end of a 20-year career, but you only have to allow them to use 72 hours in a given year.
Okay, so if they're leaving in their 21st year, they still only get 72 hours.
72 hours. You don't have to pay out that time when they leave, which is good.
Okay,
you still have to allow them to use the 72.
So what are the things employers kind of need to know, about this whole thing and kind of prep themselves?
So they got to look at their policies. Every business they should have a handbook or some sort of PTO or fringe benefit policy that says that, hey, employees get 10 vacation days and a couple sick days. You got to look at those policies because if you have a sick leave policy, you're going to need to change it to conform with this statute that says that you can use, sick leave for all these different reasons. You're going to accrue at a rate that's, compliant with the policy, and you're going to have to just bump up the time. We get calls all the time that say, hey, I give employees 5 days of sick leave. Do I have to bump it up? And the answer is yeah, because 72 hours is 9 days. So you're giving the extra, 4 days of sick leave. So it's a big deal. I think where we're going to see the changes are on PTO. I think some employers will start decreasing the amount of PTO that they give in order to comply with this statute. But yeah, look at the policies. You're going to have to change them come February 21, 2025.
Well, and of course, the administrative cost of all this and keeping track of it in case you're audited in some fashion. We got about 15 seconds left. How do you get audited? How do you get, I don't want to say caught, but there's going to be people in violation that don't even know they're in violation.
So it's the state, and there's incentives in the statute to have plaintiffs' attorneys go after these violations now, because you get attorney's fees and you get liquidated damages for a violation of the statute.
Unbelievable. Hey, Tony, thanks for joining us. It's always good to spend time with you. Anthony Dalimonte, associate with Foster Swift, Collins and Smith PC, a great organization. He's coming to us from Southfield, 6 branches across Michigan, covering everything. Anthony, thanks for spending time, buddy.
Thanks, Chris.
We're going to be right back on the Michigan Business Beat. You've been watching on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.